All right, all right. Greetings, greetings. Welcome to grade 6. This is Eureka Math Squared, Module 1, Lesson 23. We're going to start on page 321. And today we're finding the percent. All right, so we're actually starting on page 322. And one more thing you should just know that this particular visual here should have those two boxes shaded in. For some reason, they are not on my screen, so I did it for you. All right, so page 322, let's find a percent. Let's see what's up here. So what percent of the battery's charge? So this whole thing represents a battery's charge, and they're asking what is the value of each unit, or what is the percent of each unit. So the entire thing is 100%, and it's split into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes. Well, there you go. So 5 boxes, 100% total. That means each box must be worth 20%. All right, so 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Oh, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Right, so each unit, there it is. So each unit represents or is 20%. There you go. And explaining, all right, so let's see, 5 parts. So at 20% for each of 5 box units. Totals 100%. There it is. Da-da-da-da. All right, so what fraction represents the battery's remaining charge? Let's see. So these two boxes represent the remaining charge, I believe. Okay, so what fraction is that? Well, they're a total of 5 boxes, right? So 5 boxes, and 2 of them are remaining. Okay, so that's 2 out of 5. Okay, now let's see. What percent of the battery's charge remains? Okay, now from the previous lesson, we always know, or I always teach, that a percent is some value, right? Some value over 100 every time. So that's what a percentage is, right? So some value over 100. And if they're asking what part of the or percent of the battery remains, I'm going to take that 2 over 5, that fraction, and I'm going to make that equivalent to some value over 100. Now, fortunately, I see right away. Now, here's how I run this, right? So I take a look at this box and I take my eyes and I go diagonally across, right down. So I can focus on that 5. And I say to myself, is it easier for me mathematically to turn a 5 into a 2 or a 5 into a 100? Well, it's much easier to turn a 5 into 100. What do you do mathematically? Well, times 20. So 5 times 20 gives me 100. Whatever I do to the bottom, I must do to the top, right? So 2 times 20 gives me 40. Well, there's that percentage, right? So if that's 40, percentage is some value over 100, therefore 40%. Okay, and that's how we run it. Let's see what else we have here. Next page, let's see, students estimate the number of hours their cell phone battery will last. Okay, so Ryan's cell phone battery lasts for 10 hours. That sounds pretty good. How many hours will Ryan's phone last when the battery's remaining charge is 40%? All right, so he has 40% left. Okay, so now I'm going to run what I call the part over the whole a little bit. Okay, so his battery lasts 10 hours. That's a whole value, right? That's the total. That's a total, right? So we can run a visual on that too. But right now I'm just going to show you another method, right? So the whole is 10 hours and the remaining is 40%. So we want to know how many hours does he have left? Well, let's take a look. So he has 40%, right? That's what's left. I'm going to turn that into a fraction, right? So a percentage is some value over 100. So I'm going to go right after that. Okay, so the part is the 40, the whole is 100. And we have 10 hours. Now the 10 goes on the bottom because the 10 is the total. And we're looking for the part. How many hours does he have left? Okay, so once again, I take my eyeballs, I look at that box, I go diagonally across, and I realize that I should probably cruise to the right. Going up, well, I could probably do it, but it's a little easier just to move to the right because I can just divide by 10. Okay, so 100 divided by 10 on the bottom, so 40 divided by 10 on the top. And I wind up with 4. So 4 hours left. And there you have it. Okay, now if you wanted to do a little diagram on that, I suppose you could, right? So let's see. So let me see if I run a little diagram on that. Why not a big old ratio chart. I'm sorry, not a ratio chart, a big old tape diagram. So if it's 10 hours is 100%, right? So here's 100%. Let's do that, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 boxes. Let's do 10% each. Why not? And it's 10 hours, right? So the hours, let's see, I guess maybe double number line. Why not? Hours here is 0. And this is my percent over here. That's 0%. Let's see. So this is 10 hours here, right? It's 100%, which means everything is 10%, right? So 10% each box. Right, each box is worth 10%. Okay, and since he has, let's see, 10 hours and he has 40%, 40% is right here, right? And if it's 10 hours at 10 boxes, that, I'm sorry, yeah, 10 hours, that means it's 1 hour, right? 2, 3, 4, there it is. Okay, so 40% is there, and 4 hours is right there. So there's a visual for you if you want to look at that. Okay, but I'm a big fan of this guy right over here. So let's see. Kayla's phone lasts for 15 hours. All right, 15 hours. How many hours will Kayla's phone last when the remaining charge is 40%? Gosh, 15 hours. That sounds pretty good. Much better than the other guy. So it's the same type of thing. So part over whole, except this time we have a total, right? So a total, that's a whole right there. Right, the whole battery is a 15-hour battery. What's left is 40%. And so that 40%, I'll turn into a fraction once again. And this time we're over 15. But oh, I have a little bit of an issue here. Good grief. Let's see. Can I go this way? Yikes. Can I go this way? Oh, no. Well, I have a solution for this. Here's what I like to do. Should have made this a little bit smaller. I'm going to do a little top and bottom. Watch this. This works pretty well. Okay, so I'm going to put my part over whole over here. I'm going to take my 40%. I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. Watch what I do here. Here's that 15, here's that box, and as you can see, I really can't go anywhere. But what I can do, I look at this 40 over 100, and I do realize that I can simplify this guy. Okay, let's see. What can I divide each of these guys by? Well, I can divide them each by, let's see, how about 20, right? I think I can nail down 20. You'll see why I want to use 20 in a second. So 40 divided by 20 is 2, right? 100 divided by 20 is 5. Oh, look at that thing. Watch this. Now, let me bring down my other part of the problem. There you go. And watch what happens there. Boy, did that work out nicely. Okay. So times 3, and I get a 6. Aha. So 6 remaining hours. Pretty cool, right? And the trick of that was, well, listen, I have 40 over 100. You might as well just mess around with that fraction and come up with some equivalent fractions to find one that works with that 15 right there. Because I can't cruise from that 100 to the 15. But if I simplify and I get a denominator of a 5, well, now that works. Okay. And once you get that, you're in business. Okay. So that takes care of that guy. Let's keep on cruising down. And then they come up with some setups that we just took care of. So what is, let's see, 13 out of 20 is what percent? Now this is a little different. This is my part. This is my whole, right? So if I'm running a little part over whole equivalency here, right? I have my 13 on the top because that's the part. I have my 20 on the bottom because that's the whole. Is what percent? Now if I'm looking for the percent, percent is some value, right, over 100. So I'm just going to put that right there. Some value over 100. So I take my eyeballs, I cruise on over diagonally, and I see that 20. Look at that. I can just multiply by 5. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So I just have to pull off a 13 times 5. 65. There you go. Once I have that value over 100, I found my percent. Okay? And it only works if it's sitting on 100, right? So if it's not sitting over 100, it's not a percent. All right, so let's take a look at one more. All right, so let's see. So 18 over 36, again, that's a part, that's a whole. So part over whole, right? 18 over the 36, and I'm looking for a percent, which means I'm looking for some value over 100. Now this one's interesting. So what, 18 over 36, that's not working out too well, except for one thing. 18 over 36 is really equivalent to 1/2, right? 18 is half of 36. So I'm going to use that. Watch this. Aha, times 50. Look at that. Times 50. Well, what's 1 times 50? Well, 50. All these 50s, since it's over 100, I now have 50%. There it is. All right, pretty cool. Let's see if we have time for another one. Let's cruise on down. I think I have something else checked off here somewhere. Do I? That's a recap. Don't care about that. Well, I do, but not in this video. All right, here we go. Ooh, Riley has 200 bucks. I like this one because they want me to show a diagram, so we're going to diagram this guy. Riley has $200, and she spends $60 on the video game. So what percent of her money does she actually spend? Now, they do want a diagram on this one, so let's see. Let's make a, we could do a double number line on this one. This looks like fun. Okay, so we'll do cash, right? And we'll do percent down here. And if she doesn't have any money, well, she doesn't have any percent, right? And we're going to take that 200, since that's the whole. We're going to cruise on down here. I'm going to put that 200 bucks right there. Okay, that $200 represents 100% of what she actually has, right? Because she has $200, which is 100% of her money. Okay, so the percent's on the bottom and the cash is up top. And now she spends 60 bucks. Now the thing is, where does the $60 actually go on this thing? Okay. Well, you have to make some choices. For me personally, if I'm starting with the 100%, I'm just going to break this into 10 parts and start from there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and there are my 10 parts, right? And if that's true, that means this is 10%, right? 20% there, 30% is there, 40% is there, 50%. 60%, 70%, 80%, and it should work out, right? 90% and then 100%. Now, as far as money is concerned, if we break that into 10 parts, right, that means it's $20 each, right? So $40 there, 60, 80, 100 bucks, right? 120, 140, 160, 180, and then the $200. All right, so if she spends $60, right, that's right here. Right, so she spends $60, and look at that, it's 30%. So what percent of her money does she spend? Well, she spends, right, so Riley spent what? 30%, right? So 30% of her money. Sorry about my handwriting there. And what percent of money does she have remaining? Well, if she had 100% and she spent 30%, right, that would mean that she has, right, that would mean 70% is remaining. Okay, so that's using a little diagram to help you out. And all right, so that's the deal. Hope you enjoyed that. All right, take care. Bye-bye.